Technology.ie, we're at the Disruptors conference at the Marker Hotel in Dublin, and I'm with two of the panellists from the first session here this morning, which was on the theme of disruptive business. Gentlemen, I'll ask the two of you to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Clyde Hutchinson. I run a company called NAS Connect, which is a connection business, and also the founder and executive director of the Ireland Digital Business Network.
And David Smith, I'm the VP of International for US Market Access Centre, and also a founder of Cheerna Partners, a business support, business development group particularly out of Canada.
It was interesting, the topic this morning was about disruptive ecosystems, about the business, I suppose, of networking and getting finance and all of this kind of thing, and getting support for your disruptive business idea. Clyde, you have experience with Israel, which is a powerhouse in terms of this kind of business, and of course, David, you have particular experience in Silicon Valley as well. I'm going to ask the two of you the same question. How is the disruptive ecosystem different from the regular business ecosystem, or is it just a little more aggressive?
So I think the difference between that is really looking at what's the next big thing and how we can improve the way we can do business. I think those are the two main points I would say a disruptive ecosystem providing.
Yeah, and I think it's about openness, about opening themselves up to new ideas and being open to listening and giving feedback and accepting new ideas. I think that whole idea of being welcoming, opening the network and allowing new ideas to come in and not going in with a closed mind. So it's very much an open mindset and an open innovation mindset.
Is it safe to say in general that disruptors don't have the kind of networks, they're outsiders, they're mavericks, whatever it might be, they don't necessarily come from the same backgrounds as people who might be incumbent in an industry?
I would disagree with you that. I think there's always going to be outliners. But I think anybody can be a disruptor. Anybody can actually come up with an idea of doing something better. And I think, picking up from your point about openness, the whole point of having an ecosystem is an ecosystem exists to help each other part, because if you're a complete outliner in an ecosystem, you're not actually a part of an ecosystem. So you need to be a part of an ecosystem so that you can learn to share your ideas and also be able to take advice on what's the best way of doing things, or somebody will actually come up with something which will crystallize what you're doing better than you sitting in a hut by yourself and being an outliner. I think it needs to include everybody. I think you need to have that little bit of edge to you, but I don't think necessarily you're a loner, which is by yourself. I think you need to be a part of a group or a part of a network that you can actually share your ideas.
Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of truth in that, and I think a lot of disruption comes outside your industry from people outside and takes everybody completely off guard. But sometimes it is people within the industry who have those connections, but have themselves just a personal openness to accept new ideas and implement them and get them done. So it can happen from both within the industry and outside the industry. And again, the whole thing about being a disruptor is having that ability to take those ideas and action them and get something done with it.
Now, the term disruptor has been around for a long time. You could argue it goes back to Henry Ford or whomever. Certainly in tech it's been around for a good many years. Is it different now, though? Are we seeing more disruption? Is there something about this time right now? We seem to be hearing the term with more frequency, David.
I think so. I think it goes back to the move away from hardware and the physical infrastructure, which is hard to disrupt. It takes a lot longer. Whereas if you can put something into software or into a concept or an idea, then you can disrupt an industry very, very quickly, because the incumbent cost isn't there, and you can bypass that incumbent cost and go completely over the top. So I think it's the advent of software and the advent of connected systems and open networks that allow people to do that quicker.
One of the things you both talked about in the panel this morning was the opportunity for Ireland here. Is there an opportunity, Clyde? How would you describe it?
I think, as I said, Ireland's really well placed. We're the only English-speaking country in the Eurozone, which has the euro. We're at the edge of Europe, so we're facing the US, but still being able to have that connectivity with Europe. And I think, again, it goes back to a point which both of us keep drilling, it's the kind of openness. We're an open society, we're open to new ideas, we're open to new people, and especially now we're sitting here now in the Marker Hotel and in Silicon Docks. You look around the amount of international people which are coming through, and I think Ireland's really at that tipping point of really being that international melting pot of ideas, and being able to, I think one of the points I always drill down on is being able, because there's always going to be the multitude of Irish diaspora around the world which can give that step up for companies, and we're able to have that really strong international reputation, and reputation is always important, but we have that strong reputation that people like us, people like doing business with us, so we're very, very strong. We're very lucky at the moment to have Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, PayPal, all those companies here, which is starting to bring international people in. We're going to be becoming that melting pot, which has been significant for other ecosystems such as the Silicon Valley or Tel Aviv. Ireland's really is at the genesis of this.
And Ireland has a global diaspora that no other country has. So again, if you're looking to get feedback and idea and to get support from you can use that global Irish network. And if you're able to leverage that, you actually have a complete leg up over anybody. So it's about having the mindset to put yourself out there, network yourself to death, get to meet as many people and get them to introduce you as many people, and use the Irish network and use the Irish connectivity to your advantage. So,
you yourself, David, spent many years representing Enterprise Ireland in Silicon Valley. Does that bear fruit? What is the perception of Ireland, both on a government and on an entrepreneurial level in Silicon Valley?
When you talk to startups in the Valley about the support that they can get here from Enterprise Ireland and the other agencies, they're just blown away by the breadth of activity, the fact that the Irish government is a VC and investing in these companies, and then you have this network of 30 or so offices around the world where they can get on-the-ground support and input. So, it's a huge thing. It's a huge advantage. And Enterprise Ireland has an amazing network and an amazing group of people, both locally but particularly overseas, whose only job is to help you get sales or funding or help you succeed. And you'll never get an agency like that anywhere else in the world other than Enterprise Ireland.
Good. What do you think is the message of the conference here today, Clyde?
I think the message is, it's I think one of the points I always say is that the points of coming to these conferences, the mix of people you're going to meet. So you never know, there could be somebody sitting in there which will be coming up with the next idea because they've talked to somebody. But it's also to give people open their minds to what is disruptive and the different mechanisms. And I think it's a good conference because obviously you have that accessibility to some of very, very key people because they have their business hours seminar that you can actually come and talk to people, which a lot of people tend to be a little bit shy about coming over and asking people, and this is really a step to try and get people introduced to not only the concept of disruptive, but the various people which can, as I said, give you that step up and being able to help.
David?
Yeah, and I think just by being here, to people giving you feedback, giving you their own thoughts about what you're doing, and then getting those people to make those few connections that you can again reach out to people, because there's people here from all over the States, all over Europe, so you've got a global reach if you can actually network yourself and make use of the people who are actually here.
Well, gentlemen, thank you both for talking to us.
Thank you, Colin.